behind all of this. And then what we're going to do is actually we're going to go into groups of 3 people, and we're going to go through each and every canvas, and I'm going to give you a topic, and you're going to do service design in approximately 90 minutes from zero to a concept. So that's what we're going to do today. If you have time to look at the booklet or all of this, and you have read stuff about how people do services nowadays, it is very familiar. I don't think there's, as such, it is very familiar stuff. Most of the stuff we have taken, best practices that already exist and so forth, and just put it together. And the thing is that we do our best to try to combine a business angle, which is mainly, in my perspective, the lean startup, agile work methods as a team. How do you work them? How do you take the project forward? And then, of course, design thinking, hugely important there. But when we use this in our own projects and we teach our clients to use them, and I teach students to use them, what happens that it turns out really this shared language between people with different backgrounds, and this is hugely powerful. You might have the data analyst talking with the designer, and then there's a business person there. Practical things such as what is this that we're doing, and reminding us what's actually the strategy behind this. And doing this that almost in mid-sentence you can start with a strategic thing and then go into actual implementation. And that's the effective way of doing design, service design if you will. That you should be able to make these decisions. Again, imagine yourself working in a big company. These different levels of decision making are typically divided between different people. So the person deciding whether this button goes to the right or the left typically cannot make a strategic decision whether this service actually makes sense or not. But I guess one of the biggest things that is that you need to start building something that makes sense, something that the end users or customers actually want. And that is the slogan, you need to find the problem that is worth solving. Because if you think about really bad services or products, typically the mistake is that they are solving a problem that the company itself has and not necessarily what the customer has. So you should really turn it the other way around. The other thing that is really important is the difference between 2 words, the words what and the why. And we live in a world where everybody likes numbers and graphs and stuff, and you get you get numbers such as where do the people go, how much time they spend, how much money they spend, what's the difference between this person and this person, and that's really answering the question of what do people do. Imagine that you have a web service running, and you get all this data how people use and go through that web service, and that's really telling what people do. It's not really telling you why people do it. And I have this image here. I put this again a few years ago, maybe a year ago there when I went outside Finland. Because if you're not familiar with the Finnish culture, you don't really understand why that person goes into the ice cold water. And if you would just look at this picture and start designing, you would probably end up designing a wetsuit or a dry suit for this person. Because you would not understand why they do this thing that looks really crazy. And that's the huge important thing, and I bumped into this almost every day, the difference between what people do and why they do. And the why, of course, then we have things like people's motivations, feelings, goals, attitudes, emotions, their personal histories, and all this. And the only way to get into the why, you can stare till infinity at those diagrams and numbers, but you will never understand why people behave unless you get out of the office, you get out there and actually meet these real people, the real customers. It's simple as that. Sometimes I feel like saying, I have built a career as a consultant just telling this. You need to talk to people and listen to what they want, and then you build services. Which is kind of sad, because it is really as simple as that, but then it's easier to say than done. And you can imagine why it is. You know, if you work for a company, who has the power to talk with people? Can you go? Ask yourself when you go to your company, ask how many of you actually have talked with the real customers in the past month? And of course, we're all amazed that so few people raise their hand. And then when you talk to these people, you need to start asking them why, not just what do you do. Let's say that you're designing a new shoe, you don't necessarily start asking, oh, you ask what do you do, where do you walk? But asking why do you do that? Why did you buy that shoe and not that shoe? And asking why many, many times, not just once. And then I think this is the last principle, well, one of the last principles is that then what often happens is we start doing these service design projects or projects in general, and then you bump into something that we don't know. We don't know how many left-handed 30-something fathers live in southern Finland, and then the project stops. But why don't we just fake it? Let's say, let's make our best educated guess. And then we get the kind of the whole design done, and then we look at the whole design, and then we do this in a relatively short time, and then we look at, okay, where did we guess the most? And then we start patching those things that, okay, for this guess, this assumption is wrong, then this whole thing falls apart. So let's work on that assumption. Let's go and check the statistics on the left-handed fathers in southern Finland or something like that. Okay, I think this is the last slide about the principles. And if you have read your Lean Startup book, which I recommend, it is kind of one of the driving forces of how things are designed nowadays. The philosophy there is that we should start building stuff as soon as possible. Do not over-plan. Do not design too much. You should start building something concrete. Otherwise, it's just paperwork. And same thing, very quickly, you should measure it. And by measure, it means that you should build something and then as soon as possible, put it into a situation where it's as realistic as possible. That real customers use it in a realistic situation. And the measure part means that you don't just throw it there and see what happens, but you actually take those assumptions, those guesses. We do make an assumption that people would like it to be green. Now, how do we actually measure whether they like it to be green or blue? And that's the measuring part. You don't just throw it out there, but you actually make this almost scientific experiment. Because then you learn. If you just throw stuff out there and see what sticks, you probably learn, but if you're slightly more systematic about it, then you learn more. And then you build again. And this is the cycle. And this should be done in days, weeks, not months and years. And today, you're going to do it one big cycle in 90 minutes. And in the weekend, you have a little bit more time. Okay, here's the canvases in the book. Everybody can have a booklet. It's not a book, there are not so many pages. It's a booklet. It's over there. And as I said, it's really to ask the right questions at the right time. What we're going to do today is I'm going to pretty much go through all of these. But there's going to be just one question for your team of 3 people to answer in a very short time. We'll have 3 minutes to answer one question and then we move to the next one. But just give you an overview. And the point, of course, is that when the Service Jam starts, you don't have to do it like this. You do whatever. And when you go to your real work, you don't have to do it like this. You do whatever your team thinks is best. But this is there to help you. This is a framework, and then you can adapt. And like I said, this is not a silver bullet. This will not. You need to be creative. You need to put your own brains into it. You need to work together to actually create the service. But this kind of gives you a framework to focus on the right things at the right time. And especially if you haven't done these things, and nobody has done all of these things. There are very few people who are a business expert, a design expert, a user research expert, and a development expert, and a data analyst expert. So don't worry if some of these parts don't feel familiar. But that's the point. And they're very general if you start looking into them. The questions are very simple, the answers are hard. Okay, how do we do it? As I said, we're going to be learning by doing. Let me see how I have it here coming up. Good. Rather than me preaching how this is done or giving examples how we did it, as I said, let's just do it. And then you learn it, and then you know what to do with it. So everybody get a book. at least if you have a team of 3. We're going to go to the teams soon. I'll explain how I've never done this before like this. So I'm kind of excited to see how it goes. But we're going to do it so that you need to have your team of 3 people. 4 can be okay. 2 is not enough. 3 is minimum. That was a sign to move on. And then you can go into the pages. And let's say that this is the first one. And then I will present for each of these pages 1 question for your team to answer. And then you answer it on a post-it. And then you write it down. Then we move to the next one. I'll explain it. You answer to the question. We move to the next one. Explain it. And that's the way we go through. So we will be planning a service as we go. Those people who are not here, who are online, and if you're all alone at home, you need just do it alone. Do it by yourself. Very easy. And if you don't have the booklet there, you can find this from leanservice.com. You just download the PDF and there you go. What else did I have in mind here? Oh yeah, hugely important. Let's put the picture of post-its. So everybody should have team should have a pile of these. And I said there's always 3 minutes to do. But the important stuff is to have fun. Nobody's going to hold you accountable of what the hell are you going to produce and design today. So if you want to just go ballistic and crazy, just do it. And they say that if you're having fun, you actually learn much better than being dead serious about it. But whatever, let's do so now. Let's go to the groups of 3. So if I count quickly, you are 2, so you need 1 person. And so forth and so forth. So let's have a little bit of a hassle and go to the groups of 3. I'm going to go about halfway through these, and then we're going to have a coffee break or whatever, toilet break or whatever we want to break. And then we continue to the end. Nobody alone? Any volunteers? They want 1 more. You're 3. Why do you want 1 more?
I'll need to leave soon.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Fantastic. Okay. Here's I thought what we should do today. Jam as a service. So you need to design a new jam. And think about what jam as a service. Let's say that I'm your big boss and I fell in love with this concept and you have to obey my silly things because I'm the big boss. The first step here is, which is hugely important. This is I always emphasize this, that only in school and perhaps Service Jam, Service Jam is not about actually doing real services, it's about learning and meeting people and having fun. But in the real world you always have a context. Most typically you work for an organization. And that organization sets the context for the service design. So what we're going to do first is your team, your very first decision, well actually I'm going to give you time to get to know each other. But when you get to know each other, your job is to create, this is your job, to create a service business. So this is a business, you need to make money around jam, the thing that you spread on pancakes, whatever. And your big boss has said that this is the reason because our company needs to attract the kind of people who are you. You are a customer group that we would really like to get business with. So that's your target group, we'll get back to that later. But the first decision as you get to know each other is you need to choose which company you are. Are you Supercell? And they want to build jam as a service? That's kind of interesting. Dronningholm, that's actually a jam producing company, so that's kind of one option. Or this Jumbo Juice, which is, I think it's a Finnish company that does those smoothies downstairs. And for some reason, they want to do now try out this new jam as a service to attract this customer base, which is pretty much represented by you guys. Okay, first exercise is the 3 minutes as you get to know each other and decide which company you are. Let's go.
It's not like other days we would like Japanese or whatever. Like it would be too sort of easy or like a jam company. I mean, in a way,
Seconds to go. By the way, don't worry if you don't know anything about those 3 companies. The main point is that just to hammer in that you always have a context. Have fun with them. Don't worry. As I said, fake it till you make it. That's the official time. Okay. What company are you? Supercell. Interesting. Who are you? Jambatruce. Fantastic. Who are you?
Was this planned?
Weird. Okay, all 3. So the first one, the first canvas. I don't think you're going to actually use this over the weekend, but again, pardon me for being a teacher, but I still think that you need to learn a few things even if you don't use them on the weekend. As I said, this is really, really important. This is the canvas that I mostly go back to in projects, because this is where you actually set the goals. This is kind of the canvas that says that this is why we're giving you guys money to build a service. We don't care what service it is, but you need to the service needs to achieve these goals. To make it very simple, you have now 3 minutes to answer one question. How does your team know that you have succeeded in building service as a jam? If you don't know, come up with an answer. If there are details that you would like to know, fake it till you make it. Answer that question. 3 minutes. You can ask me if it's still confusing. How does your team know that you have been successful? You can think it like that you meet after 6 months and you pat each other on the back and say, yeah, you know, that Jam as a service was successful. And we know that because oops, there's a typo. No wonder you guys were confused. How do we know? How do we?
So, I would say something around like customer satisfaction, like that, so related to $3 billion is budget. It's great. I'm 60% feedback on social media. Social media? Oh, 1 minute.
If you want to know, this was the original brief that your big boss gave you. And he or she wants to know whether you're successful or not.
There we go. Everything super yeah. Boom. Healthy.
Okay, now it's probably a good time that you actually write your answer on one piece of paper. You have 3 pieces of paper. You are very advanced. I hope they all have the same answer. That's time. I asked you last. I haven't asked you this. How do you know that you have succeeded?
Why did you choose us? We ran out of time.
You look so smart. You're buying time now. Just answer me, please.
Well, we picked Supercell.
Supercell.
And we were thinking a lot of things, but the last one was that what if we venture out into recruitment? Supercell wants to recruit people like us for their services and whatever, people who spend their free time in service jams.
Okay, Supercell wants to recruit people like here.
Vehicle that attracts the people.
And the jam is the thing that throws in. And you know you have been successful
When there's a rise in applications, better recruitment.
when there's better recruitment and more applications. Thank you very much. That's a really good answer. Okay, was that enough time for everybody? 3 minutes? Fantastic. I'm not going to cut into 2 minutes. Next. So the next thing, of course, is you need to kind of go and look what's already out there. This canvas is called immersion. Kind of imagine yourself jumping and immersing yourself into stuff that is already out there. You could call it background research if you want, but immersion feels fancy and slightly academic maybe. Again, there's like, 8 questions there. We're going to just make the fun one, which is the last one over there. We're going to get 3 minutes and discuss what inspires you. Each member in the team just lists 1 or 2 products or services that have nothing to do with your company. Well, they can. Or they don't have to do anything with Jam, but stuff that inspires you. Maybe you're a huge fan of Sharpies, and they inspire you, and you're like, wow. You don't have to make a connection between your inspiration and the Jam. Just list. Where do you get your inspiration from? So 3 minutes to go. So I'm imagining that all the teams you discuss, and then you end up writing down the answer. But you can do whatever you think best. So what inspires you? If they are related to Jam, then of course, that's a good inspiration as well.
Excel.
Maybe think about services as well, because it's the funny thing is that you have a product like Jam and you're trying to make it into a service. So what there's, just think about services and maybe products.
Kind of diet, I guess.
Yeah. Like Instagram fitness. Yes. Obviously that's like super expensive. Like if you would do like a marketing thing with the jab and you have like all the Instagram like posting with the bloody jab. Protein pancakes and jam. I want to buy this jam already. It doesn't exist.
1 minute to go. If you already have answered this, have a look at the other questions there as well. Okay. Have I asked you? This time I have a microphone. Can you list what inspires your team?
We wrote My Fellow Anthropologists.
Fantastic.
And, Blood Oranges.
Why do they inspire you? You can choose either one.
They're seasonal right now.
The anthropologists or the oranges?
Anthropologists are always seasonal.
Good. Any other sources of inspiration? What about you?
We had art, we had environmental design, everything that is recycled, and then we are inspired by stories and learning new things.
Oh, fantastic. Really. Let's take one more. This is so inspirational. What did you end up?
We have the world,
Mm-hmm.
strong personas, nature, Finnish rap music, wedding vlogs, being together, and then random service from product brand.
What is inspirational about Finnish rap music?
Well,
That's not a criticism. Sincere question.
Profeetat, of course, Cheek and Elastin together.
Why do you find them inspiring, I guess?
I don't know, I just love rap music and my friends doesn't really understand me.
Okay, that's fair enough. Good. And then you can see the other questions there as well, but we don't go there today. But I think thinking about the weekend and the service jam actually, this is hugely important, is to get your creative muscle working. Because of course what you do a lot, you as a designer, it's your personal experiences that go over there. So this is kind of just stating them things aloud. Okay, next one is the data one. This is very simple again, but maybe not that easy to answer. But to put it really, just list, each group have 3 relevant data sources that you would think at this stage, you don't know yet what you're going to design, But if you can't, you can always think that if we could dream that we had this data, or maybe some existing data sources that you already know, what would you like to have at this stage? 3 relevant data sources. Here, thinking actually what company you are might be helpful. Number of applications. In Supercell might be a relevant data source. Sales of jam in Trondheim. Most popular smoothies in Jambajuice might be.
I don't know, can we find out new stuff because customer in terms of like everything like plans, what area of in a way it doesn't matter. But it's just before because we have to do a research of references. We have to ask the people about their lives, about their habits, shopping habits, lifestyle habits, everything like that. And social media is the great system.
Breakfast habits or
because you have to be
go like
the chat. Yes, that's true.
The prejudices they have against Jam. So their habits are like their perceptions of Jam.
Also like sort of like recipes and stuff like that when we find jam because it's like not really pancakes and jam. So what you could or what could you replace with that? That they could like give you the application possibility the starter and therefore like expand
Over there. So what company are you and what are your 3 relevant data sources? Who wants to go?
Okay, all right. We are Supercell, and we were thinking of preferences, recent trends. We need to get benchmarking data, info about specialists, about current consumption, history.
Fantastic.
Did I miss something?
That's 5. I asked for 3. You were overdoing it. That's quite okay. What about you? 3 relevant data sources.
So we had a jumbo juice, and we actually picked more too, but maybe the most important customer data, open data. Okay, we want to know where the thirsty people are, but maybe it's also important to know the competitors and benchmark.
Really, really good. Customer data, what about you? What do you want to know about the customers? Where they are?
No, it was thirsty people, but also it's about the users and customers, what they want from our juices.
Yeah.
The tastes and such.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much. That was good. Time to move on. Now we have some idea that what kind of data would be really nice and useful. And in a more realistic scenario, you would actually then go and try to find what data actually organization has. Is there like a quick wins, or do we need to combine databases to create some piece of data, and so forth and so forth. Now we actually go to the customers. Very simple question. What is your most important customer group? And be descriptive about it. And now the original brief said that it's people who attend service jams. So have at least like 3 bullets. Who are these people? What describes them? And the last bullet, think about why do they attend? What is the problem worth solving for them? What is their need, desire, problem? Why do they come to service jams? Because isn't that you're trying to solve a problem for these people with your jam as a service? But forget the jam now. Just focus on these people. Describe who they are and what's their problem worth solving. If you meet one on the street, how do you know that they are in your customer group or not? And then what do you think is their desire, need, problem worth solving? Very simple. Not that easy to answer. Who are your customers? That's another way.
So I think in general, like the people who are they constantly look for sort of things which they can improve. They are constantly looking for new ways to do stuff, improvement. So obviously probably like health and intellectual, so that kind of thing is really important to them. Thus they would be looking for, better options for like something that they want to do or what they want to use. Because obviously, health is important enough when we come to environments like this, we want to make the world a better place. And because sugar is such an issue for humankind, especially in the first world countries. This is our target group. We could sell this jam with these people. So much jam.
Yeah, you need to be.
That's my view on this issue.
I think we should nominate everyone who is fed up with the proposal.
And like that is because you wouldn't have the kind of target area relatively new, in a way, for if you first and foremost, people we have on because people were not so interested about people were so the people who are not so concerned about health and then you have those that are really like richer and they're worried about the people those who don't go because of the sugar and are like the free talk. Exactly. Like if you're making protein pancakes, you're not gonna go buy like shit ton of sugar jam with gelatin and sugar and water. I don't know, is there a jam that's like actually tastes nice? There is. Well, you know, I don't, because I don't eat jam, so I'm a target group. Is it possible to make a jam with sugar? Yes, there is. And sometimes in the fruits are sweet. Yes. Yes. And without this proteins and everything like that, you can use chia seeds free tox organic out of everything.
Okay. Let's put the question there. It's not working.
I didn't either.
There we go. I'll go to the people there on the top. The top people. So, can you describe your most important customer group for us? There you go.
Well, we thought about that maybe people want to learn something or get some ideas to their own work or projects, and also networking. That is hard. Motivations behind people who attend to service jams.
Fantastic. It's really good. What did you guys say?
Our customer is passionate about new things, willing to learn, social, and meeting new people, and want to be part of something bigger, and love challenges and trying new things.
Oh, wow. Do you agree? This was describing you all, more or less.
We just looked around.
You just looked around. Okay. Well, the good thing is that thank God the boss gave you this target group to work with, because now we can validate. That was your guess. You guess that this is what these people are interested about. The easy way to validate this is actually get one of these people and interview them. But before we do the interview, let's do an interview exercise. Choose a pair. Choose a pair. If you're 3, you need to break your... There are like 2 groups of 3, so that's kind of, you can easily balance there. Okay. Now choose who is going to be the interviewer doing the interview. Raise your hand if you're the person doing the interview. Good. Now your job is to ask about the last time the other person gave a gift, a present, a gift. And the way to do is that you need to ask why. At least 3 times, preferably 5 times. You need to ask why. You know, you start the conversation and then they tell you something and you go, why? And then they tell you more. And then you go, why? To the point of being slightly annoying. Okay, you guys okay? This is the brief. You may start. I'll give you 2-ish minutes.
I don't know if this is a guess, but I kind of like my friend's birthday last Friday, and I ate tiara that cost me €1. Is that a gift? I gave it to her because it was her birthday, and obviously tiara, and it was like a legit gift. 20 fingers. Why, like, she was born 25. Why it is so because I'm not funny and tacky. Why I don't know. She's not a president. No, she's not princess nor taxi or anything like that. But she's funny, and I think it was just like to remember. You don't really need to. Like you don't need to give something really like for values. The point that you remember, and just a slight gesture. Tied to the fact that well, I also did because it's really got her card. It was really nice. The card because the present and it's just like the presence of like getting everybody together and
Okay. Who was the interviewer here? Any volunteers? I will ask what you learned. None of you guys want to volunteer. Who was interviewing? Oh, come on. You were supposed to do it. Oh, thank you very much. What did you learn about the person you interviewed? Not the name.
Yeah, I forgot just the name, but I learned a lot about every other thing. So the last time she gave a gift was to her friend because her friend was looking after her dog because she was on a holiday in Bali and came through Paris. So she gave her friend some Balinese and Parisian things. And I asked why she chose Bali. That was because it was far away and she didn't like to be in Finland. When I asked why she didn't like to be in Finland, she said that she wanted to spend Christmas away from Finland because Finland is a cold and dark place and she didn't want to go to her parents for Christmas.
Oh, that's deep.
And that's pretty much it.
That's kind of the point of the exercise. You actually go deeper. And gift giving is really good because it's such a... There's so many layers in the gift giving. It's a very, how should I say, socially heavy thing. So you can go really, really deep into the relationship between the gift giver and the person who gets the gift. But that's exactly the point of the exercise, because now the next task for you, now you're back into the jam business, is to do your interview script. And it's very easy to do the interview script. Just decide in your team what are the 2 themes you want to cover in your 3-minute, no, it's going to be a 5-minute interview that you're going to soon have. Yeah, let's do that first. So what are the themes? You don't have to write down the questions, just discuss in your team what are the themes you want to discuss. You want to learn. So soon you're going to get one person from another group that you're going to interview and just, discuss what are the things that you would like to find out. What is the goal of the interview? Okay?
Okay.
Let's go.
So we want to find out, do they eat jam and what?
And if it is really obvious, so what is the goal of the interview? What are the themes you want to cover? Then sure, you can start thinking about how will you ask? How many whys will you ask?
That sort of thing, like do they
How about
how much do you live? Yeah, no, so yeah. So it's
Jam, like a...
So we also tried about the flavors, information about flavors. Flavors, yeah. Flavors, taste. Why? I mean, I think that goes with the jam. Like, what do you eat jam, how often do you eat jam, what's your favorite jam? If you don't eat jam, why do you eat jam? Jam and health. Because we make different customers, Maybe ladies. How about that jam? How about that blood sugar though? Like in a nutshell, like how I process this information in my mind. Exactly. But still delicious and sweet. And I have sweet and jam. Yeah, you actually like the calories you burn because you ate that jam. Like the jam is like brilliant. I really want this jam already. Broccoli jam.
Okay. So let's get ready to do the interview. Choose one person from your group, and this is the person who goes to another group. Just choose one. Point a finger at someone.
I can interview
Good. Then choose a person who's going to be the interviewer, who's going to do the talking mostly. And then the last person is the one who takes care of the documentation. So focuses mainly on writing down what the other person says. The person who goes away, the interviewer and the documenter. You need at least these 3 people in your team. Good. Let's not switch to the other teams yet. So what's going to happen is, of course, this is the 5 minutes. Might be something like this. First, you introduce yourself. Hello, we are a team from Dronningholmen, and we would like to understand this and this. You're welcome. You know, nice that you're here. Then start with some easy questions, some relevant questions. Okay, where do you come from? What do you eat for breakfast? I don't know. What do you think is it? And then go to the themes that you just discussed. Can you please explain the last time that you did this and this? Can you remember when that was the last time? Can you tell? And then you go asking why. And you have for 5 minutes to do this. One thing I don't have here, but I just remembered. The person who's doing the documentation, there's 2 things you need to pay attention to. What does this person need or want? And when they talk about feelings and emotions, make a note of them. Just 2 things to listen to. Needs, wants, desires, and emotions related to them. Let's keep this very simple. Okay, any questions? Ready to do this
So you come with me.
musical chairs without music and chairs? So the person who's going to go to be interviewed, can you go away from your own group to another group?
Going to be interviewed.
Every group should have a person who goes away for 5 minutes and find a group.
You interview, I document.
And if you're ready, feel free to start. Okay, let's go. 5 minutes.
Nice. So, where you from? What do you do? What sort of area? So, what did you have for breakfast? Getting personal. How often do you have breakfast where you have jam? Do you like jam? What made you
And also I'm I have related to some first
Yeah. Yeah, it has that's interesting. How would you describe your dietary and like your interest towards health? You mentioned that you chose to not.
Yeah, I don't.
Is there a reason?
Good.
Yeah.
And I prefer vegetarian.
How would you feel, like, would you love to eat jam? How do you feel, like, if you would, like, if minus all the health counterbalance, like the bad, like, it's jam that you would love to use? Yeah. That is wonderful. Exactly, because you chose. Wonderful. We have a market. We've done it.
Okay, 2 minutes.
Maybe.
What's your favorite jam?
Probably the jam.
With what do you use jam? Like your grandma's jam? With what would you use it? Do you use it in porridge, just in Really? Yeah. Butter, jam, and cheese.
Sandwich and bread.
Yeah.
Or pancakes.
40 seconds. Start asking the final questions. Remember to thank them.
Literally the best. Everything free, still homemade, organic. Minus the sugar. Jam in 90 minutes. I'm gonna go to Tony Coleman. I'm like, I have a jam for you. It's gonna
Okay, that was 5 minutes. Thank the person. Make sure they find back to their own group if they're very confused. Now, listen carefully, please. The last thing before we're going to have a break. Now, the person who comes back to the home group, explain in 3 minutes to that person what did you just learn. So a very easy way to document and talk about what you learned. The person who just came back to the home group, tell her or him what just happened, who was this person, what did they need, and how did they talk about their feelings related to it. Let's go.
You know I
she prepares a whole not like all those organic fruit stuff, like really, really stupidly expensive, like for a jar, like €1 billion. So I think the feelings
Okay, 1 minute.
No, I'm good. I have
Okay, that was it. So we have actually now interviewed a real person that is your target audience, and I always like this part because it's actually a real person that you did a design for now from here on. And just imagine how easy it is to go from 1 person to 5 or even 10, and then you get a lot of information and inspiration. But let's have a break now, and then we'll continue. Actually, after the break, we're going to start designing the whole thing. What should you do to these people? Let's have what? Let's have 10 minutes. Maybe that's a good one. Or maybe, I don't know. 8? 8 is a right nice one.
What do you mean? No, I don't think so. I think they're gonna like determine their role. They will put their feelings and topic and all those things on Friday. So this is just like a started to get us like familiar with what you need to think, how can you think, like sort of get our creative fluid flow. So yeah, I don't think it's just kind of yeah, I think they're gonna give us the themes on Friday because what I understood from the description was that nobody knows anything and just kind of opening and different times. So it'll be fun.
I like this story. It's super much fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I think overall, I like this one. I just take courses. Yeah, I did digital design and
I did like straight lines.
Vähän parempaa asiakaskokemusta nyt.
So it's not part of it. No. You get like
autumn or
yeah, in the autumn, but you can
yeah.
They are like normal working.
Is he also checking?
Okay, 3 minutes and then we continue. Make sure you have energy because now it's going to be a quick 3-minute brainstorm immediately when we get back.
Sometimes that's why maybe they are like targeting to me.
I get the
I'm already there.
But yeah, and I do like it. It's like design marketing. I'm into marketing and I like design, but there was this new thing they used to have fashion marketing. So they're more
Okay.
You're the first person I actually meet because yeah, it's been always like I didn't think about it.
I have like I went years ago. I was in Spain. It was also kind of well, a private school. So I was trying to design, and it was
schools to post like standardized material, but you would get British degrees working with universities. There was like Futurice leading the yeah, so that's why I was like, I don't want to waste money for that. That's why
I already picked one title there as well.
Yes.
Okay, 50 seconds, maybe 45. 48. Okay, everybody is more or less back. Fantastic. Gradually, we're going to continue. So now what we have done is, to put it very simply, we have realized that what's the context, where do we work for, what's the company that we actually do this for, how is our success measured, and this is now I'm talking about real life, and then kind of forgetting that for a little bit, and then thinking who on earth are the customers and what do they want and desire in life. And then service design is a really simple Venn diagram. Here you have your company or your organization. Here is what your customers want, and then you want to find some kind of overlap. And ta-da! Suddenly your company is producing something that your customers want, and maybe there's a business in it. So now we're turning towards ideation. We're going to do it very, very simply. So at least, let's do it so that we do it in silence for 30 seconds. And during those 30 seconds, each individual person writes at least 3 ideas of Jam as a service, based on what you just learned from your interview, and based on, of course, where you get your inspiration or whatever. Maybe it was the coffee you drank that turned these ideas. We don't really care. Brainstorming and ideation is kind of an art form in itself. I'm not going to go there too much. I'm sure everybody has done it more or less. And you can read it, some of the best practices that we use in the booklet. But let's just get going. So 3 minutes, 30 seconds in silence. And after, I will tell when the 30 seconds is gone. You can start ideating now already in silence. And then the rest of the time, you share your ideas with others. Okay, let's go. Jam as a service, based on what you just learned about your customer group and whatever inspires you. A really easy way to do this is just think about that individual person you just talked with and what he or she really want or need. Okay, 30 seconds gone. Now you can start sharing your ideas and collaborating and generating new ideas.
Okay, so what to come up with? Okay, two theories. Will I have like Jam? Yeah. Oh, I sounds good. I love your approach to this because my approach was like Jam as a service, meaning that we will give the customer like the memory, like the ability to like, because obviously we would probably use local berries, something that are seasoned, like that so that when the customer buys it, it knows it's providing for the farmer or or the person who picked up the bloody berries from the forest or wherever. So it's kind of like they feel good about the product, so they get also like the things. I understand like sort of linking to the memory of like grandparents and sort of child George.
He's 60-year-old. He loves to pick berries.
Exactly. So yeah, we just bought George's job. So thank you. And then like bought towards like the health with your ingredients. To like providing the ability for them to actually enjoy the amazingness of our jam. How do you make it cute? By making sure the supply chain is too big, because obviously then you will like make sure it's like kind of fresh. Because when you like somehow make the use of the locality and all that.
That's not the key to
No. But also we
10 seconds.
this product like not always and that's right that is one thing. But I don't think we're aiming for cheap. We're aiming for
Okay. Any ideas? What was yours? Just name one. Give one.
Like
They will steal it anyway, so you can say it.
for us it's health, so it's like as a service, because we're making jam.
Okay. You'll work on that soon. Any ideas here? Just one idea.
One.
Choose one. What's your favorite?
Local brand.
Okay, we have this idea of warm jam for winter.
Good. Fantastic. What about you?
For instance, taste of the week. Small producers, they gather them and deliver them to your home.
Wow. That's really good.
Extremely limited editions.
Extremely limited editions. Fantastic. Really good ideas. And of course, at this stage, you don't need to choose one, because you need to choose it now. So the next one is that you have all these millions of ideas. 9 actually, if you follow the rules. Choose one. In your group, decide, let's go with this one. Give it a name. Name of the service. And then just write down what's the value it gives your customers. Why would they find this service valuable? 3 questions, 3 minutes. Go, go, go. It's more important to choose one idea than to find the perfect one.
Yeah, so I guess it's just like the benefit of jam, like the sort of still feel healthy and still like not making my food.
But it's good. Just jam, because just jam, that's just the right. Nothing and how we don't actually also like just
Yeah, so we chose like health and law. The product you missed but you couldn't do because exactly.
Very selective.
Because we have to
How does it? There's a
long process
determines your chewy.
Okay. Time's up. Let me put the slide back. What is your concept? Tell it to the world. The internet is listening.
Okay, so we're working with Jam as kind of more of a metaphor, and we're doing a Jam Your Dream Job game. It's at Supercell. And you're playing a game to shape your career path, and at the same time Supercell is observing how you're playing the game. And at the end of the game you've kind of created your special flavor of jam.
Okay, fantastic. What's your concept?
Okay, we're working for Supercell as well, so we created a game called Jamaholic, and it's a game that has levels, and you can get more ingredients in different levels and top scores. And what will it benefit, or what's the value, is social, creative. It makes the person active and shows your personality.
Wow.
You could actually like get the jam for yourself.
That's impressive. If I was the other teams, I would be slightly depressed. But it's not a competition, that's a good thing. The next step is very, very simple, and it's actually, you can have this step at any moment. Typically, the reason why you have it is that typically when you work with your team, you start liking your team buddies and you start forming consensus, and everybody falls in love with whatever the team produces. So there's a moment, and you need to build a time and a moment that you're really critical that you actually believe in this. So let's do this very quickly, like in 1 minute. Everybody thinks for 10 seconds in silence about your concept, and each individual chooses whether you think you should kill it and start all over, or do you think that, nah, it's pretty good, but let's take a few steps back, or this is just brilliant, let's move on. So let's have like 10 seconds in silence, and then tell your team members what you think. Go.
About to kill it for the whole jam, the whole idea.
We can stab it.
Too far is fine.
That wasn't 10 seconds.
So we have to.
I can't hear silence. Now it's 10 seconds. Okay, tell the rest of the group what you think. Those are the 3 options. Kill it, start all over again.
Nowadays, from healthier done your market research. You have to send it to fitness people and hipsters. How do they find differential yes. No, if they're right for this company. Yes,
Okay. I hope most of you decided to proceed. Well, it doesn't really matter,
No, it's
because
brilliant.
today we're going to proceed anyway. But even it feels like kind of silly. I mean, again, remember, we've been doing over thousands of projects, and it is not actually. It's a huge decision. Somebody has given you, let's say, 50,000 euros to make this service. And what if everybody in the team, after 1 week, believes that we should just kill it? Do you think that they will actually kill it because you were just given 50,000 euros and this is in the budget and somebody's bonuses depend on this, and you know, if you don't get the bonuses, the kids can't get the Christmas presents and the kids start crying. Are you going to make the kids cry? No, you're not going to make the kids cry. We'll make this concept, although none of us believe in it. It's an extremely difficult situation often. But that's why you need to have a good team, you have to understand the organization, and you need to have a situation where if you go like, okay, we don't think that this original brief was crap. We're not going to do this. We're going to need to start all over again. So have a look at them. Actually, there are really tough questions in the actual canvas. Okay, next. Let's draw an advertisement for you. So this is an exercise where you just draw quickly on one post-it, you talk over it, and then just draw it, an ad for your service. If you look at that, the template is extremely simple. The picture is more or less half of the space. You can have it bigger. You can put 2 post-its together if you feel adventurous. The headline, of course, is very important because that's what people read, and then you would have a copy text explaining what the service is all about. The reason we do the ad, first of all, it's a really, really good exercise of crystallizing what is this service really all about. It forces you to talk the customer's language because it's an advertisement. It should speak their language and, you know, touch their emotions and so forth. And then the good thing about this ad is that then you can actually give it to a person and say that, you know, our company is doing this. Would you be interested in it? That's your first prototype. 3 minutes, draw your magazine ad. Probably you will discuss it for 2 minutes, and then you will for 1 minute draw it. And go.
So do we have like jam your way into like somehow like fit everything still? Do you like?
You can see the same template here in the middle. Picture, headline, copy. If you want this professional grade, super big poster, I can give you
Just drop jump. I like it already.
Then we would feature like
What are you thinking? Sammy. I think people need jam, but they cannot use it because of the vegetables. So they have to really compare to them. Something.
Okay, 1 minute. Time to start drawing. A little less conversation, a little more action.
Maybe just something you missed. Missed this, maybe the copy says, did you miss this? Yeah. And now you can have it too. Sugar, all flavors.
Nothing added.
Yes.
Just like that.
Just like moms. Just like moms.
I structure, like where you have the child, and you have like 3 generations, and they all just like having just jam, and it's just like, you know, it fits with the mum is like very disappointed, and the ones you give the child like nasty stuff, but then you have like the grandma, like and then you will have like the farmer in the background being like, yeah, there's 2 miles from where they live.
Okay.
Something you missed. Something you missed from your child. Just like
Anybody want to show their ad to the internet? How's your ad? Of course it's not ready. I gave you too little time. How? Any ready ads? I'm just looking around here.
Just like no, it's just joking.
So now you have your first prototype.
you have to.
Remember when the service jam at the weekend? This is one of my favorite tools. Again, it is so very powerful. Just imagine doing an ad, and this is not for advertisement properly. It's really crystallizing your team's idea and then communicating it outwards. This is one of my favorite tools. Okay, the next one. The next one is really this is a powerful tool as well, and you probably have seen it. It's pretty much a customer journey. Where do the customers come from? Where do they hear about this thing of yours? How do they engage with it? How do they make the purchase decision? What happens when they use it for the first time? How do you make them use it even more than just the first time? And how do you take it to the next level so they become advocates of the whole thing? That they tell actually their friends and other people in the service jam, say, wow, have you actually tried this jam service? It's really good because blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, more people become aware of it, and so on, so on, so on, so on. You could almost have a design project just around the customer journey, mapping the customer journey, designing the touch points and all that. So it's very rich, very powerful tool. Today we're going to be very simple, and we're going to use just 3 minutes thinking about the very first one. How will your customers become aware of this service of yours? So the first question to ask is, where do they actually hang around? Are they in some social media channels? Are they physically somewhere? What's the best way to make your customers aware of your product? If you get that done, you can start thinking the next step, which would be that, okay, once they are aware of it, how do they engage with it before they buy it? Coupons, trials, and go.
Maybe it's like, you know, going to like fair and stuff, like, you know, where people are like, you know, yeah, something like that, and also like, you know, maybe like cafes, like, you know, very independent, that sort of things, and maybe enthusiasts,
Before you used sugar,
yeah,
and now you put jam. Just
sold to everywhere.
It's like a smoothie and top chef. Food blogger.
Yeah, no, like, you know,
no magazines.
It's like a Netflix movie.
All the cars that produce things for produce berries.
You know, just like have
so you have to
moms. Yeah, they want that granny. It has to be different, but still, you know, like have the traditional.
It's a food. Yeah, first you could set samples. I don't know, yeah. I would like people like, you know, do like a sort of like a thing. Because I don't know if you
Okay, time to move on. But let's ask what happened. Make the squeaky sound. Let's go over here. How do you make your customers aware of the service you're designing?
We are Supercell, and we have Heyday Jam Jam. So how we're gonna do is the gamers already playing Heyday Jam, plant raspberries, and we get the customers aware of the new products through existing products.
So Service Jam attendees play Heyday?
Yes.
That is your assumption?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Somebody who I've danced for a long time. You guys on the top here so far away from me. How do you make your customers aware of your service?
We have, since we're going to service jams, we're going to make them aware there. From a paper anymore. Then, since you're going to be giving speeches, you're going to be mentioning our product as well. There will be some social media ads that are targeted to our target audience, and we're trying to find a way to find evangelists too.
Okay, that's really good. That's 3 ways of doing it. Yeah. Anything else? Any volunteers? Yeah. Good. I checked energy levels from a few samples here. Everybody seems to be doing fine, but nevertheless, let's do the next one standing up, just in case. Watch your hand. The next one is really simple. For 3 minutes, just think: how many people are here? What's the potential target market? How many people are there actually that you're trying to turn into your customers? Use Google, whatever tools, and just make the estimate. If you do that in 3 minutes, you can start answering the question: how much does this cost? Your service? Who pays whom? Okay, let's go. What is the potential target market? Put it in plain language. Number of potential customers. You need to decide, is this a Finnish thing, European level, or global?
Global level.
You need to plan how many service jamish people are there in Finland.
But like just like
Also, it's more like and fitness people.
I think it's more it's not just campaigns, it's trying to work.
10% of the population. That's a lot.
Okay, 1 minute. I would recommend thinking that who pays whom and how much? Do you charge for your service? Monthly? Per purchase? For advertisements?
Or 300 grams. That's expensive though. There were like some examples. No, I don't like this. Anything that I have to sign now, I think it's like not in order. But also has a very official page. Yeah, well, it's not accessible. Also like
Okay, time's up. Where should I go? Okay, how many people are there? How many Service Jam people are there in your market? A number of people. How many? What did you discuss for a reason? How many people are there? Estimate, guess.
About 90.
90. Okay. Yeah. Is that a good size for your market? What did you estimate? How many people are there in your market?
Millions in the early adopter phase.
Millions of Service Jamish people. Good.
Yeah.
That's a different number from what they had. That's very interesting. They had 40. How many did you have? What's your market? 50,000. Okay. That's closer to the 45 than the millions. Isn't it interesting? You all have the same target. What's your number?
We got a number of 10,000, meaning there's 50 attendees here about. There are about 100 cities, and if every city has 2 jams per year, we will make it 10,000.
Good. Did you think, you had a bigger number, did you think about actual Service Jam attendees or people within the same spirit as people within the Service Jams?
Yeah.
Those are different things.
We're scaling up.
We're scaling up. Good. Okay, you may sit down if you want, but you can stand up. I don't really mind. But you can imagine how hugely important it's, at least at this stage, now that you know what your concept is more or less about, is to think of how many people are there that this is actually. Is it 45 or is it millions? It changes the concept dramatically if there's 45 people, because now you need to make a business. You can make a business out of 45 people, that's not a problem. But the service will be different if it's for millions or 45 people. It doesn't yet tell whether which one is better business. If it's like 45 really, really rich people, you can probably get the same revenues as millions of not that rich people. But the point being that this is not just the numbers, the Excel numbers and the number crunching, but these numbers actually influence what the service is. Again, kind of simple as I say it, but often people think that we build the service and then somebody else just crunches the numbers. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't mix these things. The next one. This is one of the main points of the way we put this together. Again, it's partly about not fooling yourselves, because you as a team at this stage, you're really glued together and working really well, and you like each other, hopefully more or less. And what happens is that you fall in love with your own ideas. And then there's the bigger organization that is giving you all this pressure that you should actually deliver that service on time, which might be contradictory to the fact that we don't really know if this is worth delivering. Yes, we will waste 50,000 euros, but there's the potential that we can waste 500,000 euros. So that's kind of thinking. That's the real world. And I'm sure you've all been in a situation that you're like, actually we should kill it now, because if we go forward with this, we're going to waste money. And that's where the validation comes in. How do you prove that you are on the right track? Again, today is a great example because you have been just guessing more or less. Yes, you had actually one interview where you validated the fact that what does at least one person think? But that's much more than having 0 people to interview. So this canvas is all about how do you plan to make sure you're not fooling yourselves, that you're actually building a product that people will pay for and like and use. And not just planning and imagining and guessing. But to put it really simple, I'm going to give you 3 minutes. You discuss one test to prove. What would be a really good test to prove that you're on the right track? How would you validate your concept? Just one test. And a good test is something that you can measure, whether it went right or wrong. Okay? 3 minutes.
Okay.
Things you might want to test is such as, will people really like this product? Will they pay for it?
Months fair, fitness fair, what other
Limited edition for a pop-up store or pop-up cafe or something like that. And you can work with merchandise that is like an online store, like a pre-order.
But then, like, we prepared, we would get like the response immediately. Like, we would know if they be buying the API. Yeah, I don't how they feel about it.
There are few external factors that has made this kind of and also neuromodel. There are a few of those, and they have sold out because people see that it's really
yeah.
But I think the first one is they have to taste it because it's different to than if you sell it in a pop-up store or something like that, and then you can see that they it could even be combined with like a tasting session and then with a pre-order form that you can fill the full version and then
Also, a test where we would get cafe and channel pastry or stuff like that. You know, like a private thing where they give them like
also for the
okay, 1 minute.
customers because it's the most it's the bigger segmentation that shops. Remember when Ben and Jerry came and
Okay. The next one is actually a very smooth continuation from this one. And this is the final one. We're going to stop after this. This is the fashionable word, minimum viable product, the MVP. So your task is to build what is the very, very minimum that you can build. Your deadline is tomorrow. Tomorrow you're going to have 25 people from your customer group come over here. You need to build a very minimal product. Viable means that it should make sense, that you actually, when you build it and you give it to these 25 people, you learn something about it. That's why we had the exercise before. So now the final exercise is, what will you build for tomorrow? The resources you have are these people in your group, and whatever you people really have in real life. There's no money, it's just time and material, and well, if you happen to have strawberries at home, then use them or something like that. 3 minutes. What will you build? 25 people coming tomorrow at 10:15.
We have the recipe, I assume. I don't know like how to make it. So
with the system, if you just you know you go to these levels.
Just have to have jams. That's what we can. But yeah, do we have to have the package? Just the jams. I think the jams are important. So we can have a like a company, yeah.
the test
Yeah. Yeah, it's the credit where like the environment.
Yes, it takes because it's a problem when you take out of the jam sugar and
If they can, like, you know, have robots using jam, but it's just like we have to test it's the product that people actually know. You know, sometimes you can have like you can choose this like a widget. Obviously that product will not be allowed for very long. But then you have some bigger cheeses that are amazing. So then so yeah, so we go inside and we see like if it was every berry and like, you know, just then you could like, you know, have like seasonal, every country has their own berries. So you could sort of like, you know, the seasonal, you could like franchise it to local, like, you know, owners and stuff like that.
normal dinner
jam, Christmas jam.
And dinner jam and breakfast jam jam for candy fry.
Candy jam.
Yes.
So yeah, so we kind of have to have the product here. What is the feedback? If they need more, something, some of that.
Minimum viable product, like maybe at least one flavor or something.
I think we should have different samples, like, you know, different variations with the texture. Like different variations with the texture, and, you know, like, you know, the stuff that's in there. If they're like more bitter or like
ginger and ginger.
Okay. What are you guys going to build for tomorrow? 25 people are coming. What's your product for tomorrow?
We have this jam factory, which is a workshop where people can create their own jams, kind of craft jam, just like your grandma did it, but better. And it's kind of kokkisota thing. They will compete with each other. We have location for it. They will bring some of the ingredients, and then we have all the basic stuff and the basic recipe for the jams. Then we have this Grandma 2.0, who will be kind of expert and inspirational speech.
Will you get the grandma by tomorrow?
Oh yes, of course.
Who is she? Okay. Well, excellent answer.
Something like that.
Okay, good. Sounds really doable by tomorrow. What are you guys going to do for tomorrow?
We are going to build a really super simple prototype to test. And people coming to test it, and then we see if it works.
What is it?
It's a very, very simple, low fidelity prototype.
What is it?
What is it?
You're not describing what it is.
A game.
A game?
Yeah,
Good.
based on the existing Heyday game. It's built.
Okay. You guys can program and hack the Heyday by tomorrow?
No, we have a team.
Okay, sorry to pressure you, but that's the point. You know, we get to realistic. That's actually the deadline is good. Yeah. Not sure if it's doable, but you guys might be really good programmers, and you can hack the existing game. Anybody else? What's your MVP?
We're going to also have a jam workshop tomorrow. So there's going to be a game, a really simple one with throwing a dice, and then you can get different levels, and in different levels there are different ingredients. So if you get like for example level 3, then you can use the level 3 ingredients are lower. So then you can choose, you can custom make your own jam. And we're going to make it during the day, and then before you go home after the jamming day, then you get your own jam.
Okay, and you get the real ingredients from where?
We go to the shop there.
Okay, great. And what do you think that you will learn after doing this experiment
Yeah, I forgot to that we're going to also ask about the price after that. How much would they be willing to pay for the jam, this custom-made jam, so we can see if we can actually afford to make it. Because it's going to be a bit more expensive than the normal jam. So we're going to get the price range also from that.
Okay.
So we're going to test if this gaming and jam making will work together.
Hey, that's a good answer. Yeah, that's true. It makes the workshop make sense. Okay, let's have one more. Actually, it's a really interesting one. Who I haven't asked a lot. You guys up there, I haven't talked with you. Can you describe your MVP, please?
Yeah. We were going to have a location where we would have these kind of cocktail food with jams, and we combine it with cafeteria type of environment where we would hang out with people and probably have a relaxed environment to work on your own ideas or some jammable things.
Do you have some place in mind already?
Well, for example, Johto.
Okay, good, because this is tomorrow, 10 o'clock. There aren't that many hours.
We have map already.
Good. Okay. Of course, the reason why I'm asking you these tough questions about being realistic, because that's the whole point, and this is what will happen with the actual real jam session, is that you need to make realistic plans of what you can build in the limited time. And this is the real world as well, as you probably know. And then as you can imagine, it is actually really, really difficult. Because we will always have limited resources. And the difficulty is that you need to be really innovative and creative in figuring out that what is actually the whole most important thing that we need to build and test when these people come. That's the whole point of the MVP. You don't spend any extra money. You need to distill the whole core of the whole thing. The biggest problem with the MVP, the second biggest problem is that, let's take the situation again, that your boss gave you 50,000 euros, and what you guys are going to do is to run a workshop, or you're going to do something that will not be sugar-coated. It will not look pretty because you're doing just the minimum. So in real life, this is a problem we face quite often, is that the expectation levels is that, at the end of the project, you're going to produce something that looks amazing and looks like a final product. But that's actually in a very contradiction to the whole minimum viable product thinking, where you just build the absolute minimum and you don't waste any extra money on sugarcoating it. So there might be a little bit of expectations mismatch here, if you understand what I mean. Okay, I actually decided to jump over. There was one more. It would be, what would you be measuring? What's the key metric that you're going to be measuring all the time when you do this? But I think we discussed a little bit. Done! Wow! And it's 1 minute past 8, almost on time. Hey, well done. That was a service design project in less than 2 hours. Any questions? Comments? Everybody is probably a little bit tired, so I'm not going to extend this for long. You're leaving already. Fair enough, it's past 8. You have to go. I hope that this exercise at least 2 things. When you actually start jamming on Friday, you're going to feel that there's all the time in the world, because we just did this in 2 hours, so you're going to have plenty of time. And wow, we actually have like 30 minutes to do this. But I guess it's also easier for you to, start jamming as well, because you have done it once, if you have never done it before, or those people who are first timers here. But the other point, of course, is that now you have the handbook. If you want to read it, now it's perhaps easier to read that what we should have actually done if we had more time. I've done a real project in 5 days, going through all of these, but it was 5 days, required a lot of preparation, and everybody's calendars were empty. But it just depends on the project. Sometimes it might take 5-6 weeks. It's really content dependent. Because a lot of people ask me, so how long does a service design project take? Well, it depends. And of course, everything is freely available. Everything is open sourced. All this stuff, you can use it. You can take it. You can start making your own consulting business and workshopping if you want out of it. There are people who have done it. There's a person in Brazil who's running his own business using these, and we're really happy about it because it's free to go. Okay. Any questions or comments? You can ask them afterwards. But we're done.
Just one thing, I want to take the camera for a spin so that people can see that Risto hasn't been just talking around here by himself. With me playing around with rubber chickens, there are actually people here as well, so give a big applause to Risto. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. That's it.
I believe, yeah, that's all for today, and we will see you all in Helsinki Service Jam on Friday. See you then. Ihmisillä on vähän paremmin paukkuja kuin ilman mitään. Yksi tehty. Ei ne vielä ehkä ihan vuorovaikutteisia protoja, mutta siihen päästään sitten. Tää on Suomi.
I have 2 questions, but I'd like the microphone.
I don't have it. We know it's 3 men, 27.